Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's start our video with a story in which a crazy lady decided that if our OP works in one of the stores, then he works at every store in existence at all times. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. I work for Target, not Walmart. Several years ago, I worked at a Target superstore as a cashier/food court worker. They didn't have check cashing and I didn't have a working bank account, so on Fridays I would cash my check at customer service of the Walmart Neighborhood Market, Walmart grocery store for those unfamiliar, across the street before going home. At the time, Neighborhood Market employees wore green shirts and khakis. This was before they changed to bright green vests. I was wearing my Target red and khakis, and on this day, I'd forgotten to remove my Target name tag, though I usually did. This is also before any Targets in my area got self-checkouts. It was busy, and the customer service managers were running around helping cashiers, other customers, etc., so I was waiting at the desk alone. This NHM had these self-checkouts directly across from the service desk. There was a lady there getting increasingly frustrated, so she starts shouting over at me. Lady: "Hey, can you help me with this?" Me: looks down at shirt and name tag, looks at lady like she's stupid. "No, I don't work here, sorry." Lady: "Well then, why are you standing there?" Me: "Waiting for service? At the service desk?" "Sorry, I don't work here." Lady: "Well then, where are the people who work here? Can't you help me?" Me: "I don't know, I work in the food court at Target." She keeps acting all aggravated and kicking up a fuss, so I kinda go near her and tell her how to look up produce, never touching the machine. I go back to the desk to wait. A few minutes go by, and I guess her receipt got jammed. Lady: "Hey, can you come fix this? I'm not getting a receipt." Me: "I still don't work here. I work for Target." Lady: "Well, you helped me before." Me: "'Cause you needed help and I knew how to do it. I really don't feel comfortable touching their machines when I'm not using it." She continues to kick up a fuss and act frustrated and mad for the next couple minutes, occasionally looking at me and sighing loudly. Finally, a customer service manager who looked about 18 years old shows up. He goes to help me behind the counter, but I point out the lady first, who somehow hasn't noticed him. He goes over to help, but the receipt paper's jammed and he clearly doesn't know how to fix it. He says he's just covering a break and he'll have to find someone to help. I sigh, just wanting to get off my feet after a long day of retail, and then proceed to give the kid step-by-step instructions on how to fix it, while the lady glares at me like I'm the devil. I'd been a CSM for the NHM on the other end of town for a year, over a year and a half prior to this story. Could I have helped her? Probably. But I didn't feel like popping the front of their machine open and futzing around with the insides. Also, didn't work there. Wasn't getting paid. And our second story. I bought a homeless woman food, and then I saw her go get in her car and get in another drive-through line. So I was visiting one of the offices that I help manage when we're short-staffed. It happened to be one of the lab tech's birthdays, so we went out for lunch at Popeyes. We're sitting down and enjoying our food when this lady approached our table. She was very disheveled and looked the part of a homeless person. I'm usually pretty sympathetic towards people that appear to need help. She didn't want money, she wanted food for her and her kids. Honestly, I didn't completely believe her, but I felt compelled to help her. I took her to the counter and paid for the largest family meal they had, plus some chicken tenders for her baby. The meal was almost $40, but I felt like I was doing the right thing. I leave her at the counter to receive her food and return to my table. She was very thankful and shared some kind words with me. After returning to my table, I heard some ruckus coming from the counter. I turned to see what was happening, and she'd gotten into a verbal fight with two of the employees. She then stormed out without getting her food. I literally said, "What the F?" And my mouth was probably wide open. She returned a minute or so later and was mumbling to herself as she walked past us. "There's gonna be blood today. They're gonna die on the job." She had her hands in her pockets and my table was on high alert. She continued the verbal assault and received her food. Nothing ever escalated beyond that, but we were intently watching. I'm watching her as she leaves, gets into a car with a man driving, and they pull around the building and go next door to Captain D's. They proceed to get in the effing drive-thru line to order food. At this point, I can't believe what I'm seeing. I can see all this through the windows of Popeyes. I'm stunned. I've been duped. I'm pissed. I'm no longer hungry, and I feel something inside me that made me get up. I walked out the door and walked across the parking lot and caught up with them when they're paying at the window. She was in the passenger side with her window down, eating the chicken tenders for her baby. I said very calmly, "Ma'am, I just bought you $40 worth of chicken, and now you're over here paying for more food? I thought you didn't have money." She was shocked that I'd call her out like that. She said this man was just giving her a ride and it was his food. I asked her where the kids were, and she had no coherent answer. She continued to mumble at me with no real words. She was being very defensive and said something along the lines of, "You agreed to help me, so it's your fault." I told her to enjoy her chicken, and she called me a mother effer. At that point, one of my coworkers had pulled up his car next to me and was telling me to get in, and I did. They honked at me as they drove away. Never have I confronted someone in a situation like this. I'm usually very passive and let things play out on their own. What a piece of crap. Who knows how long she's been scamming people? Good job on calling her out. And our last story. Thanks for showing your true colors. No more retirement beach house for you. This saga has been unfolding over the past 10 months and has slowed down enough for me to sit back and just take it all in. I, 32-year-old female, met future husband, Rick, 42-year-old male, 4 years ago, and are happily engaged. We're taking our time with wedding planning and are generally just enjoying looking at options related to building our future house. I say house as plural because Rick and I purchased 2 pieces of land that still need to be developed. But we're not about to break the bank for the sake of starting construction this instant. Besides, we still haven't fully agreed on what exactly we're going to build. We both decided on the interior design and amount of rooms. My preference means more money on the foundation, etc., but I'm going completely off topic here. So my mother, 64-year-old female, is retiring in less than 2 years. Although she was initially a bit standoffish about our relationship, it didn't take long for Mom to warm up to Rick, to the point where even the cell phone assistant helping me in the mall that one time raised his brow at how openly she flirted with Rick. Gross, right? 3 years ago, we hosted my mom for the first time ever. It was her first time ever in this country as well, so it was kind of a big deal. We went out of our way to plan activities, different locations, and even arranged for a quick drive to another country just across the border for a buffet lunch. In hindsight, I guess this is where we messed up, because my mother got the idea that Rick is loaded. He isn't, but we're well off financially. At least we're better off than any of my immediate family members, with the exception of my younger sister, who's married and can afford 2 dogs, 2 cats, and a beautiful house, plus the odd weekend getaway with her husband. Long story short, Mom is concerned about her lack of retirement plan. Younger sister and my brother-in-law had just bought the house back then, and my older sister was/still is unemployed due to her position in the company being made obsolete. She also has a deadbeat ex, 2 teenage sons, and is studying her butt off for a bachelor's, so needless to say, she's stretched thin as is. Between us siblings, we agreed that a retirement home was out of the question. Mom has no property to her name and only has us to rely on. So the decision was made that I would be most able to see Mom's retirement while my 2 sisters helped financially/emotionally as best they could. Rick was all in because his culture practically revolves around family. We're already supporting his own parents in some ways, so why not include my mom as well? Well, 10 months ago, my mom came to visit again. 2 weeks this time with my aunt, her older sister, in tow. They live together and Mom's the breadwinner. Timing wasn't great because we were still kind of negotiating the land and Rick was under excessive pressure at work. This meant we couldn't entertain Mom and Aunt like we'd entertained Mom back then, and I'm pretty sure Aunt was expecting more than what we were able to give. Everything besides their own travel costs was paid for, by the way, so yeah. All the while, my aunt had wiggled herself into this retirement arrangement because, in all honesty, her own daughter and grandkids are most certainly not able to give her anything except maybe a single bed in a room. One thing you need to know about my mother is that she has some pretty problematic views on men and life in general. My aunt tends to add fuel to whichever view suits her agenda at any given time. Therefore, the two of them together can be a fantastic time or literal hell. I don't know what the heck they've been telling each other before the visit, but it was clear that both agreed I need to, quite bluntly, get as much out of this man as I possibly can, plus make sure my name is on every policy, every bank account, and every legal document as the main beneficiary because he treats you like trash, and what if something happens to him and you're stuck in this foreign country completely alone? They even went so far as to ask if I had direct access to his finances. I do, but that's none of their business. Then the showstopper. One late afternoon, while we're all at a friend's holiday home for a long weekend, Mom straight up walks towards me and in the presence of my friend states, "You better not have any children with that man." To be fair, she didn't know my friend could understand our language, but what the hell, man? It took a few days, but I eventually revealed to Rick all that they'd said after Mom and Aunt left. At first, he wanted us to uphold our promise to build Mom a retirement home, but during the past months, he'd finally decided that, no, we're not going to reward my mom's toxicity with a fully equipped luxury house on the beach as a retirement home. I've since made it clear multiple times, yet unfortunately no family member, with the exception of my father, they've been divorced for like 2 decades, takes me seriously. That's fine, though. She should have saved her money, and your aunt should have gotten a job a long time ago instead of expecting your children and your niece to take care of you. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.